Hey everybody, just wanted to do a quick update on a few things here around the fish room on a Saturday evening. We're not going to do a full round the world update, but I don't know if I'm going to get in here to actually get anything else done this evening, so I do want to get caught up on a few things that I'm working on right now. For one, I have replaced the tank heater in my T-bar tank here. You can see I've got the digital electric heater in there again. And this one worked properly right from the moment I put it in. I bought a better infrared thermometer, and it does read accurately, so I was able to calibrate and make sure that both of them were on the same page here as far as what temperature the tank is. And in this case, when I put the thermometer or the heater in there, the thermometer actually started reading the tank temperature immediately, whereas the original one I put in there did not do that. I set it to 25 and it just stayed at 25. It never blinked, it never went back to the tank temperature, and I never saw the indicator light come on showing that the heater was working. In this case, everything worked properly. It went right to the tank's water temperature. When I went to set it, it started flashing. It flashed for 2 seconds after I was done and then went back to showing the tank temperature. The light came on and so on and so forth. And as the temperature adjusted, my actively working light went off, and eventually the tank has come to 25 degrees Celsius and has been holding steady ever since. And that was yesterday afternoon. So we now have a successful 24 hours with my new tank heater going on in there, and so we'll have to wait and see how this one goes. The first one I bought never worked. Right out of the box, right from day one, it showed up defective. I don't know if it was a return somebody else had returned and was inadvertently resold, or if it was simply a defective product. But as I said, I'm willing to give any company a pass on a simple defective product. Anybody can, have one of those happen. I'm not going to write off the entire product line simply because there was one defect. It was just coincidental that it was my very first purchase that was the defect. But there you go. There it was. So that is done, and we are now operating on that. My gourami tank is blacked out. You can kind of see in there, I didn't put any blanket over it or anything. It's not completely pitch black on the inside, but it is so dark that I doubt a lot of photosynthesizing is going on in there. And today is day 3 of the blackout. I am going to replace the canister filter. That box right there is another Sun 304B like I already have on it. And when I did the water change last time, I struggled with this filter again. It was leaking a little bit, and because I'm in the process of trying to get this tank stripped down and cleaned out with all that blackbeard algae in there, now's a good time for me to go ahead and do that canister filter. So I didn't know if I'm going to actually get in here and do this tonight. That's why I'm shooting a sort of update video rather than the actual video of doing the work, because I don't know if I'm actually going to come in here and do this tonight. If I do, I will shoot video of it, but if not, at least everybody now knows I do have a replacement filter for that, and that is going to be the goal here. Now tomorrow will be the end of the blackout. Tomorrow will be the full 3rd day. We're into the 3rd day now, but by tomorrow will definitely be a full 3 days. And since tomorrow is when the tank is going to get lit back up, and some plants are going to get added, some other plants are going to get removed, and that sort of thing, I figure I may as well just wait, and we can go ahead and do the filter at the same time we're going to do all the other work on the tank. So look forward to that. We are going to be doing some more work here on the gourami tank very soon. And lastly, I will say, as far as just from an update point of view, pay no attention to that little space heater right there, that little tank heater right there. That's the one I pulled out of my T-bar tank when I replaced it with the one we just looked at, and it had been running when I pulled it out, so the glass was still really hot and everything, and I just stuck it in there until it had time to cool down, and I haven't bothered to pull it back out. So that's just sitting there. It's not plugged in or anything. It's not attempting to heat this tank. But if you'll look at my temple plant right there in the corner next to that piece of wood, I really thought that that was going to wilt and die back, and we were going to be starting from scratch, and eventually, we were going to see some new growth popping out from down here where the roots are, and we have not. It's stood up. It's looking really healthy. All of the leaves have stood back up. I'm getting a little bit of crisping and a little bit of burning on some of the tips, but for the most part, it looks really good. And you can see, I mean, it's fully stood up. It's not leaning on this at all. It's completely freestanding and has been for several days. And when I planted it, it was a straight stalk with roots on the end, and I jammed it in this way and kind of bent it and forced it up, and it was leaning against the side here, and now it's actually stood up on its own, trying to get up towards the light. And that, of course, is a good sign. It's showing that the plant is up and growing and healthy. And, of course, since we're standing here looking at this, we'll have a brief look at the update on the plant growth. I'm really excited about all of this Java fern. I've got this stuff down here. This is one plant that's growing fantastic. And then I got this one that's actually growing up and out of the water. It's growing through the plants in there, and it's also growing up and out of the front of the tank. So that's really starting to shape up and look good. And then, of course, we're getting some, some flowering plants are starting to go. And my bulbs are still continuing to come up. And hopefully we'll get to see some flowers in here sometime soon. So, all in all, I'm really excited about the way this one's turning out and getting ready to look. And I can't think of anything else to talk about for an update. There is a little something going on with my quarantine tank that I'll mention in another video. I basically left the filter turned off, and the tank was fine for a couple days with the filter not working, but I'm going to do a separate video about that in its own right. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap that up. Like I said, I just kind of popped in here to do a little update, try to get some video caught up just in case I don't get back in here to do anything more serious later, so we can consider this my video for today. So thanks for watching, and make sure you're subscribed, that way you won't miss anything. And then don't forget, this one here is my waterfall tank, and we got a lot of good stuff coming up on this one, so make sure you're subscribed. Alright, thanks for watching, everybody, and I will see you real soon on the next one.